Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, August 4th, September 4th. I know, it's been a rough one. We've been busy this week between putting up the tree stands that I got, the we call them tower stands. They're made from the Amish, to trying to get lawnmower stuff in and out. And it's like all morning yesterday, people were calling wanting stuff done. It started to get crickets there for a while. But it was okay because we had enough other stuff on the side, right? And I still got to do the roadway, do some things with the backhoe and that stuff, the track hole. And we've still got hay left to do. But what are we going to talk about today? I thought today, what would my response be to somebody that says to me, I would like to start a small Indian business in the next year? What advice could you give me? You'd be surprised. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. Yes, it is. This is the weekday. My name is Eric. We do a weekday Monday through Friday, and we have videos almost every day. So a weekend as well. They're all available on podcast. All your educational, all your personal development, and your weekday shows. So that's the big thing: is what kind of advice would I give you going into the next year or two into our trade, the small engine repair business? Good question. I would say, one, do you have passion for it? I mean, the biggest thing is, do you have passion and drive, not for the business side of it, but do you have passion and drive in yourself to want to excel? Are you willing to put time in? And that's a very important question that you need to ask yourself. And I've had guys tell me, well, you don't need passion and drive anymore. You just need programs in your phone. Oh, yes, you do. I'm not talking about, being on whirlwind on your phone and having like 1,000 gazillion friends and stuff like that. Because you can kind of do that whenever, right? And the thing I find with the phone, you guys can correct me, but I think there's a lot lost in texting and messaging versus talking, and even between talking on the phone and talking with someone in person. Personally, I can get a better read on somebody in person by their body language than someone on the phone, you know. And text and messaging are the worst because there's no tone towards it, right? I mean, we can use all caps if we want to holler, right? But other than that, unless you're going to put in side notes, sidebars of, I'm pissed, blah, 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 because, blah, blah, you know. And I've had people take me the wrong way through a text or a message because they feel that I don't care about their certain particular issue. I cared all right, but if it was that important, why didn't you just come talk to me? Right? So that would be the first thing. Do you have passion? Do you have drive? And is this something that you really would like to do? Because if it's something that you really would like to do, you're going to have to put in the time and the effort. And what we've talked about before of time is money and money is time, right? And the less time you have to devote to something, the more money you're going to spend to hire somebody that can. And, that might be payroll, kicking that out, instead of trying to learn it yourself. Or if you're just going to be a one-man band, it solves a lot of headaches in a way. But then, I tell you, there's a lot of things when you're in the shop that sure is nice to have two sets of hands on. It's easier. Because that's one of the things that I notice when people start up a business and stuff. They don't realize how many hats they have to wear. And if you're starting a business, you're wearing a lot of hats. Everything from bookkeeping to correspondence to record keeping. It's not just turning a wrench and collecting the money. You have to, there's a lot of work involved that most people don't see that business folks have to do. And if they're not doing it, somebody is being paid to do it. As you build your business and you get decent sized, I know other shops that have got their own person that's all they do is just record keeping. They come in for 5 hours a day or something like that. And they do all the books. They do all the receipts from the day before, all the expenses. You have to keep track of all that stuff. Not just so it gives you a gauge of where you're at, but you also have to do that for taxes, insurances, who's paying the bills. And that's the other thing, when you're first starting out, it just seems like, depending on how quickly you want to crank it up, you're writing a lot of checks to cover bills. And while you're doing that, there's nothing guaranteeing success. You might be one of those rise to stardom and then complete flop. The ones that build it up and it's a gradual climb, we talked about patience and responsibility, and the biggest thing is you have to have patience as well. You're not going to enter a 5K race if you haven't even walked 5K in the last 20 years, right? So what makes you think that you can just crank up a business in a day when you've never done it before? See, I always am a firm believer of mentors, okay? Having a mentor. And there's enough things that you can catch on the web, like YouTube. I try to give my advice, all right? And my advice comes from mentorships. I'm trying to mentor you into believing in yourself, building it the right way, building your customer base the right way, and when I say the right way, I mean you can't do it exactly the same way I did it. Because you and I are different, all right? You may be good at the business side of, record keeping and everything else. And I'll tell you, this day and age, there are a lot of programs out there. QuickBooks is one of them that could track all that stuff for you. But it's still the same old that we used to say in programming, computer programming. Garbage in, garbage out. If you don't put the right variables and the right numbers in the right place, what it's going to spit out isn't going to be any more worthwhile than what you put in. Right? So yeah, there are a lot of softwares. And are you selling online? Do you have a e-commerce website, or are you just going to strictly do it in a physical location? There's a difference. I do both. How do you set up appointments? We set it up by phone and messaging through Facebook usually. You can put up a calendar on your website and have a program. There's services out there that will show when you have opening, all right? And all your customer has to do is put in their name, number, reason why it's coming, and what day to bring it in. Or what day you're going to set up for pickup in that general area, whether it's, it can't be by the week. You have to do it by the day. One day this direction, one day that direction, one day that direction, all right? If you do it by the week, if a customer is looking at 3 weeks out, he's probably going to take it to somebody else. That's why I say that. And I'll tell you, that's another thing to look at too, is customers, new customers especially, that drive by your shop. If they see a lot of mowers and a lot of stuff sitting out front that are in need of repair, they'll keep it on a drive-in. So having a bunch of equipment out front to show that you're busy isn't always good either, because it's giving the customer the wrong message. That's one of the reasons why we try to get things in, get things out. We're well known for that. Do we need to work at the speed we do? No. But if I want to keep business coming in, especially when it comes to bigger projects, we've got a Kubota in there right now that's got a rear main leak. I got a John Deere on the other side that the transmission pump, hydraulic pump, blew apart. That tractor was split in 3 different pieces, right? We're down to 2 pieces, and we're starting to put it all back together now. But that's going to tie up one bay in your shop, or in our case, we just moved it ahead so there was room behind it, but then we put a table up to do the repairs on it for that equipment, right? And we left the other bay wide open. Well, that Kubota was next in line. That's another thing, is when you start doing repairs or doing anything for any customers, it has to be first in, first out, all right? You can't jump around and say, well, I don't have time to put into this machine right here, right this minute. Let's knock these smaller ones out, make more money, and then bring that in. Well, what ends up happening is that customer is waiting and waiting and waiting, and you'll keep putting that customer off. My customers that come to our shop and have been coming to our shop know that if there's 4 machines ahead of them, when they drop it off, they understand that they will be the 5th one in, not the 10th and not the 1st. I learned that a long time ago, where a customer said, well, I really need it, blah, blah, blah. So you feel bad for them, and you bring it in, you get it knocked out and get it back to them. Their expectations is you're going to drop everything you have going on in that shop to please them. And you can't. Because now you just basically told 4 of your customers, F you. Again, you have a lot of hats to wear. And wearing them and doing the best that you can sometimes isn't good enough. As you get into it, you can hone your craft, right? But I learned a long time ago as well is you can't please everybody all the time. You can please most of the people, but not all the people. So you can't take to heart when somebody is pissed and moaning and anything else when you have one customer. And I've seen shop owners do this. They have a stellar 3-4 weeks of everything is great, and one customer complains and throws a fit. And then that ruins it the whole 3 weeks for that shop owner. And I'm like, what the hell, bub? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, why would one customer out of 120 that you did the last 3 weeks be throwing you for a tailspin? Not unless you're a people pleaser and you want everybody happy all the time. It ain't going to happen. Heck, I'm not happy half the time. But I mean, people have a misconception of customer service that you have to please everybody all the time. And that's not the case. And we just did a video on what is customer service. And, a couple of you guys like tinker, if the customer's wrong, go back to, or the customer's always right, but if the customer's wrong, go back to number one. I've seen this with so many businesses, and especially Tractor Supply, where that philosophy is costing their bottom line. Their bottom line. And in our area, they've developed a reputation of, if I go complain to corporate, then I'll get the money plus the issue resolved. And even with the manufacturer putting inside every book, it says, call the 1-800 number for the service department. Do not take this back to the store that you bought this from. Lowe's, Walmart, Tractor Supply are the three biggies. They take them back. And then they call us, wanting us to fix and think it should be covered by warranty. They're not a repair shop. They don't know what's what. And if a lawnmower comes in and the guy says, I've only had it for a week and he's got almost 30 hours on the hour meter, he's commercial mowing with that machine to get a week's hours on that machine. He's commercial mowing. And you need to know that kind of stuff. And did you know that if you buy a homeowner series and you commercial mow with it, it voids all warranties? Ooh, yep. But that's one of the reasons that I say, you can't follow somebody's, steps of how to become successful at business, because how they became successful. I mean, first of all, these ones that get rich quick schemes, if they're making so much money, why are they sharing it with you? People have caught on to them, so now they're starting to sell how they did it to make more money, right? But I could do like a 10-step on how to do it and how to become somewhat successful. And when I say somewhat, each step is going to be dependent upon you. And that's one of the biggest things that I stress in all my videos is take what you can use and leave the rest. Take what will work and help you grow or help you be better at business, have a better understanding of it. But you got to have your own twist on it, because the only thing that's going to keep you going is your own twist, right? And when you get there and you do become successful, and I deem anyone as successful, anybody that at least tries, right? You may fail, but I feel that you're still successful because you've tried. Now, if you give up, that's something else. But if you try to figure out, what did I do wrong, and then come at it at a different angle. That's growth. That's what's going to separate you from 100 other people that will just give up, is your tenacity. And the other thing is you have to recognize is you can't beat a dead horse. And that means don't keep trying to do the same thing time after time after time and think you're going to get a different result. That's insane. But yet a lot of people do that because they don't recognize what they did wrong. And you're not going to be perfect. Understand that too. Is you're going to have off days. You're going to have days where you just, you're ready to throw your hands in the air. But during those times, you have to understand, that these days are going to come. And that you just kind of have to, buckle through them. And better days are coming, right? So on that note, I'm going to start wrapping this up. But the biggest thing is, do you have drive and passion? Do you have the tenacity to go after when you're wearing so many hats? Because you are going to wear so many hats. And how, the technique, is very important as well. And that is, are you going to do just small engine repair? Are you going to do small engine repair using the internet? Are you going to have a website with your hours posted? That's cheap advertising, by the way. Are you going to put up a calendar? A lot of auto shops that are really busy, you can go online at midnight and find a spot that's open and put in your information. That would save, trying to line things up during the day. Are you going to be a one-man band wearing a lot of hats, or are you going to pay people to cover those things? You need to know that up front. Because time is money. Because if you don't have the time, then it's going to cost you. If you don't have a lot of money, then you're going to have to spend the time learning how to do it yourself so that you can wear that hat. What are the things that you would give for advice? Because I know a lot of you guys out there have run businesses. I mean, I know I'm missing stuff. But me sitting down and giving you a 10-step plan is not going to work for you. You have to take that 10-step plan and take away from it what you can use in yours. They may be similar steps along the way, but they can't be the same because you and I are not the same. We're different. And I think that's a good thing. So on that note, we'll catch you bright and early tomorrow morning. You guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.